REKT podcast is brought to you by Honey Miner. Want to start mining but never had the technical skills or time? Honey Miner is the answer. Honey Miner is a one-click install mining software that downloads directly to your computer and earns you Bitcoin. No more writing scripts or configurations. Just download the desktop app and start mining immediately. What are you waiting for? Go to honeyminer.com and start earning Bitcoin while you sleep today. That's honeyminer.com, on Twitter at GetHoneyMiner, and Telegram at t.me/honeyminer.
I'm Bitcoin Birch, and this is REKT.
Hello and welcome to REKT Podcast. I am Bunchu Betts. This is REKT Podcast where everything's made up and the points don't matter. We are here today with our other two fantastic hosts. Chamber, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, doing pretty good. Made I think one of the first positive trades in 7 months today. So
there you go, buddy. There you go.
Get the monkey off the back.
Get it.
The big monkey on the rock?
I don't feel like the big monkey on the rock yet.
What was this trade?
It was my Neo trade.
Oh,
bought some Neo.
Back you were talking about that.
Sold at a profit. I don't even know what I'm doing at this point.
Did you sell it all?
Hell yeah.
Nice. And then we are graced with the presence of Cynthia Wood today. Cynthia, how are you?
I'm here for this one.
Yeah,
I had to be on for Joel.
She's here for this one. And speaking of, we have our very special guest today who was actually hanging out with Cynthia at Voices of Blockchain in Chicago this weekend of Bitcoin Bravado. Bitcoin Birch, how you doing, man?
What's going on, everybody? Very, very excited to be here.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for coming on. We're definitely excited to have you. I got to ask you guys, how was the conference?
The conference was incredible, and I think it was the people that made it. There's a couple things that went on from an infrastructure standpoint, but the conference itself was great because it was just such a huge group of people who were equally as passionate as me and as Cynthia, about crypto. And I had a blast. I met a ton of new people, so I can only say good things about it. It was a great time.
I even said, I've been to more than a few conferences this year, and I was at Consensus and everything else, and this was by far my favorite conference, just because it was smaller. We still had a great turnout. But I connected with a bunch of great people who are doing huge things in this space. Yeah. And I tweeted about it earlier that I felt when I left that I was more rejuvenated and more excited about this space, that I connected with these people who were so smart and just doing huge things, and I get to call them my friends. So I felt really lucky, and just it was a great turnout. It was a great time.
I felt like it was like a docs fest.
Yeah.
There were a couple of new doxes. Yeah.
There's a couple fresh doxes for sure.
Yeah.
We finally got to see friend of the show, Crypto Chris Walken, doxing himself all over the internet. So that
handsome
was cool.
Son of a bitch.
Well, it looked like an awesome time. I saw some pictures from that you posted, Cynthia, and that just everybody was out there posting, and it looked like just kind of a big, awesome, passionate gathering of everybody that, is really...
And speaking of doxing, I had to delete a video off of Twitter
Only one?
Because I had may or may not have kind of doxed Nye in a video from the Beaksy party.
I mean, realistically, how much more do we need to see? I feel like I could point him out. I could pick him out of a lineup pretty easily at this point.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, you
just by his eyes and his voice, you know who he is.
Well, he's the one running around yelling, "It's your boy, Shil Nye." So,
it's your boy.
Right.
Anyway, cool, man.
The Beaksy party was great, though.
The Beaksy party was. I know you guys can't see it on the podcast, but on my Hangout, I'm wearing.
Oh, there you are. Keep
calm and trade on Beaksy. And
so wait, what's Beaksy? Tell me.
Beaksy is about to overtake Binance, you guys.
That's right.
They got any tokens?
You heard it here
ref
first.
Link?
I am very bullish on Beaksy. They have one of the only partnerships in crypto, period, with their back end. I think it's their order books. Is that what it is, Joel?
It's their matching engine. Yeah, it's one tick.
Yeah,
they provide the matching engine.
It's one tick. That's what it is. It's they're doing some big things, and the devs behind the scenes are like the smartest people I've ever met. They like moved in together and were working day and night to get this exchange going, and their interface is amazing. They're smart, amazing people, and I am a huge Binance fan. That's like the only place I trade. And if I'm saying Beaksy's about to overtake Binance, that's a big deal.
You're spitting hot fire.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, like I said, me and Chamber held down the fort from home because we are not nearly as
some of us got to pay the bills around here.
No.
Yeah, because we weren't invited, exactly. But maybe next year, that's for sure. So, but anyway, Birch, thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate it. We like to get these started with our guests. By finding out a little bit about how you kind of started your crypto journey. How long you been in the space? Where'd you come from, and how you got to where you are today?
Well, yeah, I'm glad you asked. So I got into the space. I accidentally bought the bottom on Bitcoin.
No, I didn't. No, the opposite of that.
No, you purposely bought the top, Chamber.
That's right. That's
what I heard. That's what I heard.
Oh, it's what happened.
So yeah, I've been familiar with Bitcoin going back. I can't tell you the exact date, but it was pre-2015. But it was September 2015 that I bought my first Bitcoin. I bought 10 Bitcoin, and the price was around $200 a piece, and I bought it so that way I could transfer some funds over to BitStars, a casino. I happened to be in Vegas at the time, actually, and I don't really drink much, so I was up pretty early, and my friends weren't, so I wanted to play some blackjack on BitStars, and I was like, yeah, let me check out that, I know they accept Bitcoin, I've heard of that before. Coinbase already existed by then, so I'm not like, I like to say I'm not an OG. Some people have mistaken me for someone who's been around since like 2013, but that's not the case. September 2015, and I started trading in middle 2016, and then got full time in 2017, and now here we are. So I've been around for a while, but I got into to play some blackjack.
That's cool. I actually have a similar story. I first found Bitcoin trying to deposit on my sports book, and so we come from a similar space there.
Bunchu is a gambling degenerate, and that's how he found Bitcoin.
I'm still a gambling degenerate.
Fine. Then at least I'm in good company. Then.
There you go.
I was gonna say, I think the podcast the dynamic is Bunchu's the gambler, I'm the drug addict, and Cynthia's the drinker.
And then we all come together to have these fantastic, amazing guests on that are smarter and better than all of us. So, but yeah, that's pretty cool. So, did you, when you picked up trading, did you come from that kind of background? How'd you get into, trading? Because that's kind of, what you do now is at Bravado, correct?
Yeah, and even today, you're not going to hear me calling myself some type of an expert. My background was not in trading. I had traded or at least attempted to trade Forex prior to getting into trading Bitcoin or trading alts. My background is in startups and sales and training in particular. So I spent most of my career in the startup space. But I did start, and we'll get to the REKT stories. But I started and I learned a lot of lessons the hard way. But it was about a year ago when I started Bravado that I was starting to really get proficient, starting to see a lot of success. But most importantly, I was meeting other people who were way better than me, who did have 10 years of experience trading or who had been around for a while. And those are the people I surround myself with today, and those are the people who continue to help push me on the trading side.
That's awesome. I think that's one of the beauty things about we always say about doing this podcast is we get to talk to people like yourself and some of our other guests that are much better versed at this than we are, and so it's very cool to get to talk to people like yourself and others that have the experience, and we we always joke, do your own podcast, because that's how we do some research on this show.
Do your own
Yeah, but I
podcast.
think, like, in the name of being wrecked, it's cool for others to hear. Like, Joel has got it going on. He's got a huge office in Chicago. Like, he's doing Bitcoin Bravado. They're super successful. And he didn't get in not too long ago. So it's not out of the realm for anybody else who's interested in, getting involved in this space. He's not a quote-unquote OG. But he's super successful, and he's doing it, and he has a lot of great content. And
Thank you.
I've been following him
gonna
since
say,
the beginning of my journey. So
Hell yeah.
I was gonna say, I think before I got into crypto Twitter very heavily, I think I got into it via some like Whiskey Wednesdays.
Yeah.
I used to watch those all the time.
Yeah, me too, actually.
And I think
Yeah.
like that definitely had a push for me to get more into onto the Twitter side, following you guys.
Yeah, and your offices are dope.
Yeah, dope as
office,
shit.
The office is sick. We're moving to the Board of Trade next week, so we're actually gonna.
you're moving.
We're
Okay.
gonna be at the actual SIBO. So
I saw you tweet a picture of that, and I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if that's what that meant. So that's
It's
pretty
kind
cool.
of a big deal, you guys.
no, not at all, not at all. But I
No.
have been fortunate to meet a lot of really great people over there, so I'm looking forward to stepping it up. You
Yeah,
know.
you should
That's
be proud
awesome.
of that, though. You are a big deal, and you have a great team.
You're a
and-
big deal to us.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, he's a
y'all
big
are a big
deal
deal
to
to
everybody.
me.
You guys
That's
are doing
great.
it.
I'm fanboying out right now.
Yeah,
So, thank
wow.
you.
All right. Awesome,
I'm
man.
blushing. All right.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing some of that with us. I mean, we are a REKT podcast, so let's get right to it. So tell us some of your biggest REKTs on like how you did not coming from a trading background to getting into it full time. I'm sure, like you said, you've learned some lessons the hard way. Can you share a couple of those stories with us?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. I think one man's REKT is another man's learning opportunity, and you hear the saying sometimes, or we've all heard the saying, if you think you have it bad, someone else has it worse. I thought I got REKT until I listened to BitLord's episode. Man,
Shout out, BitLord.
Yeah.
damn. Like, let's just have a moment in silence for that.
Seriously.
No doubt.
Jeez, Polo. All right, but yeah. So it's kind of I figure I'll share three simple and brief REKT stories with you from each stage of my journey. So at the very beginning, before I even started trading crypto, I obviously got into gamble. And the thing is, I'm pretty good at blackjack, or at least I've always thought that I was pretty good at blackjack. I would go to the casino and I'd play a lot of blackjack, and when I go to Vegas, I could spend 12 hours at a blackjack table. I'm just kind of a numbers nerd. I like that kind of stuff. I'm a degenerate gambler, so big fantasy player, things like that. So to get into crypto, I was playing blackjack online, and as it turns out, it's totally rigged. Blackjack online's a total
Yes,
fucking
it is.
scam. It's single deck shuffle nonstop. You can't count. There's no. It's a losing game. It's a 48% game. So, anyways, I'm still a degenerate nonetheless. And just on BitStars, before I transferred Bitcoin out and moved it on to Coinbase, when I realized it was doing better just sitting in my Coinbase than it was in my casino account, I lost about 50 Bitcoin playing blackjack. So my worst hand was about 3.5 Bitcoin on one hand of blackjack. So, when you quantify those those numbers about a year and a half later,
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money today. It's a lot of money then, and we're talking about not a lot of hands either. I was just being stupid. Fuck it. It's fake money. You throw $1,000 and you throw another. I mean, eventually I built up a bankroll again. I used to play a lot, man.
Well, and then that's what happens when you're, because I've played a little online blackjack in my day as well, and then that's how they get you. They'll bait you in with a couple. You think you got the advantage, and then whack, and then they just get you right back.
And then they smack you down.
The second you up your bet, you're toast.
yeah, and so that's always been a stinger. But then as I got into trading and I started to decide that I wanted to pursue this, and I didn't get onto Twitter or Telegram until I got on Telegram middle of 2017. I didn't get onto Twitter until late 2017. So I actually started my Twitter in like September, I think. I had a Twitter account before, but I basically started Bitcoin Birch in September. for that same reason. I wanted to get more into the space and learn from more people. But I spent a long time on YouTube, on Baby Pips, on TradingView, on all sorts of different resources, Investopedia, just trying to figure out how to trade. And so I started by just learning candle patterns. And I think that's how a lot of people start. I just happened to make the mistake of trying to swing trade Ethereum on GDAX for a living before I knew what I was doing. So my story with Ethereum is, once I moved all of my Bitcoin off of the casino and onto Coinbase, I started just buying more Bitcoin, and I basically spent a year just buying Bitcoin. I was like, this is going to be huge, and I accumulated a pretty good stack of Bitcoin. And when the ETF for the Winklevi got denied in early 2017, I had this, and I dabbled with some alts and stuff just from an investing standpoint, but I hadn't traded. I went all in on Ethereum, and I bought a lot of Ethereum at about $11. A lot of Ethereum.
Good price. That's
I was just gonna say.
Let me interject and say, he refers to the Winklevoss twins as the Winklevii.
That's my favorite
The
thing.
plural of Winklevoss. That's hilarious.
Absolutely.
I've never heard that. That's really funny.
I love that. I think it's my favorite.
Winklevii.
My favorite reference to them.
Anyways, keep going.
Yeah. So to make a long story short, just trying to swing trade Ether over the course of about 2 months, while Ether was moving from like 10, it would go from like $10, 20, and then 15, and then 30, and then 20. And I had never seen that kind of, this is when Ether was just going nuts. Other alts were not really moving. Bitcoin wasn't really moving. Ether was going nuts. And I lost about 275 Ethereum just getting chopped up. I just got chopped up and lost about 275 Ether. So, it's not anywhere in the boat of 70K, but 50 Bitcoin or 275 Ethereum.
Yeah.
At any, especially at high prices, it's a pretty nice house, and that was just getting chopped up. Sure. And I could have just held it the whole time, because as we know, what happened.
Yeah, exactly. So, what would your advice be then? Because I feel like your story there is very similar to a lot of people when they get into crypto. I know I did very similar things when I first started. You jump in and everybody all of a sudden is a day trader. And, so what would your advice be to some of those people, that are either getting in now or may have been doing the same exact thing?
Yeah, move slow is usually my first word of advice to anybody coming in. I actually have you guys know I run a very large private community, mostly focused on education and stuff like that. But I had somebody recently, hey, I want to get on a BitMEX. And, he's never traded before, and so he wants to get on a BitMEX, use 10, 25x leverage or something like that. So with that being said, I always start by saying move slow. For me, I was just really, and don't get me wrong, like when I was trying to swing trade Ether, crypto wasn't trendy. I mean, this was early 2017, right. And I had bought up some alts and started messing with crypto on a deeper level and buying more Bitcoin in 2015, 2016. So by then I'd felt like, all right, well, the market's pretty safe. It's like pretty stable. There's not a lot of action. Like not a lot of people are talking about it. So it wasn't like the crazy times. Like I can only imagine the emotional toll that it took on people getting in December, knowing that the market had pumped its face off and just kind of hoping against hope. So you got to move really slow, and I wouldn't recommend that you start trying to trade with your entire stack. So people will say, all right, I got $5,000 I'm going to throw into crypto. They throw $5,000 in, and then they start making trades with $5,000. You should be making trades with 500 if you start with $5,000. You need to understand position sizing and risk management way more than you need to understand candlestick patterns, rises and wedges, ascending triangles, RSI, whatever the case may be, especially because TA doesn't work if you don't know risk management. So that's my advice to anyone starting out.
Chamber, how do you feel about that advice?
Some good advice. I wish we had chatted a little earlier, to be perfectly honest.
It's a rite of passage. It's a rite of passage.
You make a very good point. When I got in, I didn't come hot with my entire stack, but I came in hot with maybe 25-30%. But and then slowly buying dips at 13K and 10K and 8K and 5K.
Dude, when I was swing trading Ether, I would just do a market, or I didn't even understand market and limit orders, so.
Oh my God, yeah.
Dude, I literally would just market buy 1,000 Ether and then panic market sell it 5 minutes later and then market buy it again.
And now he owns Bitcoin Bravado. There's hope for everyone, you guys.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You got one more story for us? Did you say you had?
Yeah, well, and then the third one is just in the more recent times. So obviously, I had prepared myself pretty well. We kind of got put on the map because, fortunately for me, when I went full time in crypto at the end of last year, middle end of last year, so did a couple of my buddies, and I'm in Chicago, and so I happened to connect with a couple of young guys who actually had a cryptocurrency hedge fund, a pretty big one as well, and they were some younger guys, kind of like me, and so I was very, very close to the inner circle of crypto, if you will. Very early in my influencer stage, and I hate using that word, but just to put it to context.
Only in quotes, though. You can only say influencer.
Yeah, because I hate the OG stuff. I hate the influencer shit. I hate all that. But at the end of the day, it's just so important to remember that at this point, I had been in crypto for a few years, but no one knew who I was or who Bravado was, right? So at that stage, before I had any of that clout or anything, before I knew anyone, I was very fortunate to be introduced and meet people who did know what they were doing. As a result, the information that I was sharing in Bravado ended up to be really, really valuable, and it was all for free. And so we kind of came up because we snapped on calling ZCL at $2 before anyone talked about it, calling Verge at 55 sat before McAfee pumped it, calling Ven at 20 cents. And then that leads me to the Dragon Chain ICO. And that's just a couple, but the Dragon Chain ICO was really where we started to get our name out because it was the only ICO that we were doing, and Dragon Chain was doing their ICO at a time where not a lot of money was being raised, and they actually struggled to raise $15 million. And this is on October of 2017. So ICOs are dead now, alts are dead now. Alts and ICOs were dead back in October last year as well. Right. So they had all gotten wrecked. And so we ended up being an affiliate to Dragon Chain. Got to be careful how much I say, but we ended up being an affiliate to Dragon Chain. And because there wasn't a lot raised and because of the pool that we started to grow, we actually ended up raising more money for Dragon Chain than anybody else. And as a result, we got a healthy chunk of a bonus, essentially.
Yeah.
That bonus, however, is one that I'm contractually obligated to not sell all at one time, or I'm on an agreement, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, Dragon Chain went 100x. It went to $5. It went to $5.
Yeah.
Recently as like 2 weeks ago, it was 12 cents.
Yeah.
So just as a result of a contractual obligation.
Yeah.
And this is just, and again, this Dragon Chain was allotted to a few members of my team. So this is just me, not even the total stack.
What's your Dragon score like, though? My
slumber score at one point was 54 million. So just to get, you can try to do some backwards math on that, but it maxes out at 15 million. So, I've lost over 7 figures in 2018 just holding Dragon Chain.
Just holding Dragon Chain. Oh.
That's $1 million REKT story.
Yeah, you and Bully.
Dude, I promised to buy. So I've been pretty close to Bully for a while, and I promised to pay off his student loans last year if Dragon Chain ever hit $4 when it was 6 cents. I was like, yo, Dragon Chain hits $4, I'm going to buy an island, and I'm going to pay off your student loans. And I didn't do either. So
so Bully better hope it happens again this alt season.
Yeah.
So that's pretty funny. But that's it. I mean, just by having that, tied up and stuff.
And dude, if I didn't have it tied up, I wouldn't have sold it all.
Right.
I have a lot that I invested in the ICO that I could have sold, and I didn't sell all of that. Fortunately, I'm proud that I did take some profits between $3 and $5, but I didn't sell nearly enough. And so if I did have access to it, I probably would have bagged it. It was just, I was so overexposed to it because of that huge boost.
Right.
And I was so focused on the money that I was investing in, because that was all free money. So I was investing in all these other coins and doing well on those.
And at the end of the day, it's a solid project too, with some,
I like it.
It's something you'd like to hold too, right?
You like to believe that it's got the future, and you don't think it's coming to 12. I don't care how perma-bear you are. You don't think it's coming to 12 cents. After a run like that.
Didn't it
6 cents.
ICO 6 cents? Yeah.
And there was no bonus or pre-sale or anything like that.
No.
So the only way that a few people were able to get a bonus, in quotes, is because they had affiliate links, and there was only about 10 people who had links.
Right.
And there are some people that you definitely know, and then they would just split it up within a group, and then they would get like some bonus tokens. But anyway, so it was 6 cents. So
wow,
I've been wrecked at all stages of the game, folks.
I mean, that's the beauty of kind of what we're able to talk about and stuff on this show. Is it shows kind of anybody who's new or anybody who is in these spots now that with hard work and learning and knowing what you're doing, it's unavoidable. You're gonna get wrecked at every stage in the game, but you can recover and really be successful at at the same time. So
No doubt.
Again, Chamber, I hope you took notes. Chamber, did you
I'm
own
just
any
writing down the
Dragon?
transcript part of. I still have some dragon.
What's a slumber
I have
score?
some
'Cause
dragon
don't
too.
really
I
know what
actually
it-
have quite a large bag
So-
of dragon.
I could try to tell you what it is, but I'm sure Birch will do a better job.
Is
Yeah.
it like staking?
Yeah, you could say
Yeah.
that. You essentially, if you don't move your dragon from the wallet that it was sent to, the longer you keep it in that wallet, the longer you hodl it, the higher. And I don't know the equation, but it makes your slumber score higher up to
There's
a
a
certain amount.
huge formula on the
Yeah,
website.
it's like some huge formula.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's some
Got
serious
it. So it
mathematics.
basically incentivizes you to hold on to it, and
Yeah.
as opposed to
So-
And then you got like benefits too, like you get
Yep.
into ICOs and stuff like that.
That was kind of the thing, is that ICOs were kind of a part of Dragon Chain's early pitch. They've since pivoted pretty heavily, but
What did they pivot to?
they do a lot of
wrecked NASCAR.
Yeah, they're wrecked NASCAR. I made a good meme on that after that car crash. It was pretty tight.
I think I saw that. Actually.
I did too.
I think we may have quoted
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah, we might have actually.
Maybe, yeah. No, they're doing business as a service and like incubation, and they're doing a lot of development work, and they want to be a platform that companies can build on. But a bigger part of their pitch back in the day was an ICO platform, and the slumber score was to give you either earlier access or more discounts or better access or better bonuses to ICOs. So
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome, man.
I thought I had a pretty decent slumber score for a while, and then you mentioned what yours was.
it was
So.
54 million.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Mine wasn't 54 million.
Yeah,
Chambers was 54.
Yeah, just 54. Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing those. We also, like to let the audience get to know you a little personally with however you interpret this question. We've had literally every answer you could think of, as opposed to, or in regards to how people interpret this. Share a real life REKT story with us.
All right, no problem. My lights are on motion sensor, so they all just turned off. So real life REKT. Everyone's got something. Everyone's got their thing. I didn't grow up. It wasn't super easy. Where I grew up, I was raised by a single dad, blue collar worker. I was homeless at a young age, and really had a lot of personal struggles growing up, and some of that rolls over to real life. And so when I was a little bit younger, I was pretty reckless. I think it's where some of my degen trading and gambling habits come from, but it's also like where some of my work ethic and hustle comes from too, and kind of why I've been able to be resilient through crypto in the last 3 years. But when I was about 19 years old, I dropped out of college so that way I could start a business, and this was huge for me. I had no money in the bank, but my whole career that I had envisioned was in sales. And so I was in a call center at 16 years old. My old boss would call me the LeBron James of call centers, because I literally started when I was like 12.
The chosen
on the phone.
one.
Yeah, I was just a call center junkie, because you can make a lot of money in sales. Quick shout out to anyone out there who's hustling
Yeah.
in sales. If
Yeah.
you're at a young
I started
age.
at a call
Yeah.
center. I started at
Hell
a call
yeah.
center.
Yeah,
And
that's
my friends were making $7 an hour. I was making $14 an hour. So it was, and they were working at the Olive Garden getting their degree, and I was working at a call center slinging deals. But at the particular call center I worked at, I knew I could sell that product without the company I worked for, and I knew I could kind of be the middleman, and I could cut that guy out. And I kind of weaseled my way out of the company and started my own company selling the exact same thing to the exact same leads, and selling the leads to the same back end person. And so I dropped out of college to do this initiative, and I took on $25,000 in leads loaned to me from the guy who was doing the lead providing. And I started this business, and we ended up making a couple $100,000 in a few months. Like, this was very lucrative.
Wow.
It was a debt settlement company. And so we were doing really, really well. And then I got a letter from literally from the bank saying that they were freezing our accounts and shutting our accounts down. And then we later found out that the industry that we were in, which was debt consolidation, was undergoing a lot of changes. And to make kind of a long story short, basically because of some bad actors in this space, my young company ended up having to not only shut down and go out of business because of a couple of changes within the law, but all the money that I had made in a short period of time and everything that I put into it, we actually had to refund to all of our clients. And we had already spent We had spent some money.
Joel, we spent the weekend together and, kind of connected over conversations. But it's really funny that you say that because my husband, who is also the CEO of my current crypto project, was in the same space as you doing debt settlement at the same time.
Back then when it got shut down?
Back then.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about.
But he was a big player down here in Florida. And
I was in Florida at the time.
Were you really? Okay.
Yeah, I was in Orlando.
He was in Jacksonville, where I am, North Florida, making millions. I mean, they were big time. And he went through the exact same thing that you did with debt consolidation and everything else.
Same thing, right. So that was a crazy time. So it's crazy that happened to you too. Florida, for those of you who don't know, is for me personally, it's a relatively terrible state, but so is Illinois, and I live in Chicago. I'm personally not a big fan of either.
Florida, because Chicago has some shit.
Chicago's messed up, don't get me wrong. But what I will say about Florida is that it's call center heaven. If you want to sell timeshares or vacation packages or debt settlement or cars, like you go down there and make a ton of money in sales. But anyways, it ended up costing me at 19 years old, recently dropped out of college. It ended up costing me a lot of money. It almost bankrupted me. Like I was able to avoid some serious trouble, but it cost me a lot of money. And then because of the way I dropped out of school, I had a 1.8 GPA. My university wouldn't let me back in. So then I had to go out and take out loans and go through this process to get back into school and get another job. And I spent years failing at multiple startups before I finally hit it big with the company. In 2013, I hit it big with Grubhub, and the rest is history. So that was kind of where my career took off. But it was another test for me, no doubt, in my young life. At 19, that was a lot to handle. It's a lot to handle at any age.
I had a pregnancy scare at 19. That's I
had a pregnancy scare the same month, I think. So
I had a pregnancy scare at 19, and I ended up actually having a baby at 19. So
I just ran. I head for the hills.
I lost my keys the other day. I thought I was gonna die. You guys oh my god, man, that's a crazy story. But thanks for sharing. It's always cool to hear kind of where each of our guests come from personally, and to take some common denominators, and you can see how people really are the way they are as far as successfulness and things like that. So it's pretty cool. Thanks for sharing.
A lot of sleepless nights, as you guys can attest to.
I feel like a majority of the people that we talk to that are really hustling and making it happen had the hardest upbringing to kind of set the stage for what it takes to survive. And those are the coolest stories.
Well, you always see, it relates to kind of similar things with professional athletes and things like that, where some of these guys, it's the only option they have that kind of saves them from a really terrible life. And so
Birch is the LeBron James of call center.
He's LeBron James of call center.
I like you a little bit more now, Birch, now that I know your story. Not that I disliked you, but I like you a little bit more.
No, I mean, we've all had our...
You gotta hand it over to the hustle. So
yeah, we've all had our moments, but...
Yeah.
That's cool, man. So appreciate that. So we are going to get to our news segment. So, Chamber, you want to kick us off?
I sure do. So, fresh off the press, North Korea set to host its first ever international crypto conference. I think that should be the event where we perform live as a crew.
Where we all go.
This is our first event.
Okay, I'm on Twitter today, and everybody's talking about this, and Shill Nye says, "Oh, I've already been talking about them to be a speaker." Yeah. And I'm like, dude, you're gonna go over there and never come back.
It's gonna be no.
We used to love you.
I'm booking the tickets right now for Pyongyang.
We're gonna go. We're gonna go hang out with Dennis Rodman. We'll be wearing Potcoin shirts.
It's gonna be great.
Birch, how much of a Easter egg would they have to give you to go to the North Korea conference?
No. They'd have to do a lot more than give me flight and hotel. That's for sure. I'm not going to North Korea. I'm not going to. I'm not even an American citizen. I'm not trying to mess around. They won't even come save me. I'm an immigrant from England. America would be like, "Nah,
are you really?"
Yeah, I moved here when I was about 4.
Oh wow!
So with my dad,
cool. Yeah, that's
but
awesome.
Nevertheless, no, I'm not going to Korea.
No Korea.
Not interested.
chamber? What do you
I'm
think?
definitely going. Yeah, anything I can get my hands on these days. So.
You and Dennis Rodman can go hang out. I'll Skype.
And then
That's
Coineasy can make a Pepe Dap about me.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know.
That's it. There you go.
That's great.
Perfect. I have one that is I just think this story is funny. Bitcoin investors have been brainwashed, says the Wolf of Wall Street. So
Jordan Belfort.
This is Jordan Belfort, who spent 22 months in prison and was ordered to pay back $110 million in restitution to victims of his pump and dump penny stock scams. Basically said that, he was a scammer. He had it down to a science. It's exactly what's happening with Bitcoin. He said, it's boom or bust. And he says, no, everybody's being brainwashed. It's a scam. So,
that's such
Birch,
bullshit.
what do you think about this?
Listen, people are not in a call center calling from Bitcoin Incorporated to your grandma and your grandfather and your mom and your dad and convincing them to buy Bitcoin.
That's BitConnect.
He's thinking of the wrong thing. Bitcoin is currently completely owned by traders, not so much retail investors, and it's only going to continue to be. No, come on. What he did was literally call people, lie to them about what a particular coin or penny stock would do, said that this particular medicine cured cancer, and then would pump the price and then dump it.
Yeah.
Right. That's, I don't think anyone can make that correlation to Bitcoin. Is there manipulation? Hell yeah, there's manipulation. It's an emerging asset class. It's worth $100 billion. It's not that hard to move. Especially a lot of other currencies are not that hard to move, but that's not to say that calling Bitcoin, doing that is like saying that that the entire penny stock industry is a scam as well, and that's not true. These are real companies. They're just traded on a smaller exchange than the New York Stock Exchange, right? They're just worth less money, but and there's certainly nefarious actors, not just on the penny stock exchanges, but on the New York Stock Exchange as well. Some of the biggest scam artists that exist are traded on the New York Stock Exchange, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, etc. So, if we're talking about Bitcoin being a scam in that way, or some type of Ponzi scheme or pump and dump, I mean, that's just an ignorant thing to say. The reason that those coins or those penny stocks pump and dumped is because of him, not because they were scams necessarily.
And on a separate note, is anybody else genuinely offended when they actually see Jordan Belfort, after watching Wolf of Wall Street? Like, I'm used to seeing him. I watch Wolf of Wall Street once a week.
It's one of my favorite movies.
It's one of the best movies ever made. I'll stand by that.
You watch it once a week?
Oh my goodness, it's like my favorite movie.
Isn't it like 3.5 hours long?
Yeah, I do a lot of work from home.
Yes, yeah.
But every time I see his actual face, it's like offensive to me. I'm like, hey, you're supposed to look like Leo.
Yeah,
make it happen.
He's a sorry version of himself, man.
He is a sorry version.
Well,
of himself.
I just think it's interesting that now all of a sudden he's coming out and trying to be this white knight, like, get out of crypto, it's a scam, I should know, I scammed people. Like, dude, you got to be kidding me. Like, how can anybody trust anything you say? One. And then, I think there's a difference, because last year he came out saying that ICOs were the biggest scam ever, and that people were gonna lose all their money, and there's a lot of really honest people who are going to get slaughtered, is what he said. And at least with ICOs, there is some kind of similarity to a penny stock, if you will. But I mean, to say that about Bitcoin, they're completely different, and it shows a lot of ignorance, I think, on his part. But Birch, how would you describe or how do you describe Bitcoin and crypto to people in your life or that you meet that really don't know much about it? Like, how could you kind of talk the opposite side of this instead of just scream that it's a scam?
Yeah. To be completely frank with you, I have a very dry sense of humor, so I do usually tell people it's a Ponzi scheme.
That's great.
To be fair, when people ask me what I do,
like
I say,
you're sitting at the bar, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm like, I trade this Ponzi scheme. It's no big deal, whatever. But no, I mean, I try to be pretty transparent when I'm talking. I'm not the kind of guy who's going to go out and try to get my friends and family to buy crypto. They had their chance. I tried to get them to buy crypto in 2016. So, how I explain it to a non-coiner, probably pretty similar to how you guys do. I basically say, listen, it's a speculative asset, it's a digital currency, and most people believe more in the technology that it's built on than Bitcoin being something that replaces the dollar. What a lot of people think when they know that I'm involved in Bitcoin, which at this point is everybody in my personal life since I doxed myself last year, but they basically are like, well, you can't spend it. Do you think Bitcoin's going to replace the dollar? Are you going to get paid in Bitcoin? And it's like, well, I do get paid in Bitcoin, but and you can spend it. But I tell people that for me personally, I actually don't believe Bitcoin's going to be a global currency that replaces. I really don't. I think
I don't
that
either.
I really don't. So I do think it's a hell of a money making opportunity, and I know that's going to offend some people, but that's the reality. That's why I bought Bitcoin, way back in the day. But I do really, really, really love the doors that Bitcoin's opened, and so I try to tell people.
Okay, I gotta interrupt and say, because I'm I say like I'm neutral to Bitcoin. I'm all for mass adoption, and whoever wins that. I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. I'm a big Mike Novogratz fan, and I firmly believe that Bitcoin now at this point is more of a store of value. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like, are you more leaning towards anybody being currency at this point, or do you think it's still to come?
I don't think we've probably seen it yet. It may be hidden somewhere on CoinMarketCap. I doubt it. I think that if we're going to move to a completely digital currency, it's probably going to be something that's issued from the government, but hopefully utilizing some of this technology. And that's probably a whole nother episode, is just talking about the speculation on what might or may not happen with Bitcoin. Yeah. But the doors that Bitcoin's opened and the industry that Bitcoin's created, that's where I see real opportunity. I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. 75% of my portfolio right now is Bitcoin. So in that sense, I don't necessarily think any of these alts are out here going to save the day either. But time will kind of tell. I have a lot of opinions on blockchain and what the future of it might look like.
Yeah, a lot of people have in their bios on Twitter they're cryptocurrency enthusiasts or whatever. But my project itself, I'm more of a blockchain enthusiast. I'm not really for cryptocurrencies. I think it's great, and I think that's one will be the winner. But my whole thing that I feel like is really it's going to change everything is blockchain. So
yeah, Web 3.0, hopefully.
Yeah. Yes.
Or a blockchain competitor. So there's other technologies that exist that try to do the same thing, that try to solve the same problems, and it may not be blockchain. Blockchain may be Betamax. Blockchain may be VHS.
Well, I'm a big quantum computing, quantum theory nerd, so I'm still waiting on quantum computers to take over blockchain and everything else.
I just bought some quantum today.
Hey, we got some actually in our one of our last episodes. We had somebody recommend it to us. I forget who it was, but we got some.
I mean, they have a node in outer space, so it's
I think
cool.
so. So awesome, man! Thank you. That's so that'll wrap up our news segment. We are going to give you the REKT podcast REKT test.
Get wrecked!
Sweet.
Dun, dun, dun.
Chamber, take it away.
So, I'm going to give you 5 questions, Birch.
Okay.
Answer as honestly as you'd like, and then it's just to kind of rate to see how you're set up for the next bull run, for the next alt season.
I feel like I could already answer these for Birch, but let's go.
We're going to let him answer himself.
Yeah,
you write your answers down and see if you compare.
See if they match up. So, question number 1, is your portfolio currently more than 70% alts?
No.
Good. All right. That's good.
Well, there you go.
Am I just yes or no, or do I say?
Just yes or no. If you want to elaborate, that's all right, too.
He said
about 75%.
Maximalist for the most part,
Bitcoin right now. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know you were a maximalist.
Maximalist is probably not the right word, but I'm just not stupid enough to hold alts for the last 6 months.
That's fair.
That's probably a strong way to say it.
More a realist.
No, it's like Donnie. Donnie Crypto.
Oh, yeah.
He came on and we asked him the same question, and he was like, "No, I don't trade on Cryptopia because I'm not poor."
That's something he would say.
Yeah,
that is definitely something he would say.
So question number 2, do you use more than 3 times leverage on BitMEX?
I'm currently in a Right now I'm in a 10x.
Ooh.
It's doing very well, actually. For those
That's
of you
good.
who are listening, Bitcoin just had a huge
Yeah,
bump.
it's
Did it? I haven't even checked.
I've been BitMEXing all day.
So we're at
No, guys.
69.30
Okay, I was
right
in
now.
Chicago yesterday at lunch, and Birch is like talking to Nye about these like little coins that he's trading. Like he's literally nonstop in the game. He's constantly trading, like constantly looking for the next pump. Like this guy is all over it. He's all
We're at
over
69. We're at 69.12 right now. That's pretty.
7,100.
Are we?
I'll close this puppy out. Let's get it.
There we go. You heard that, Chamber.
I'm loving it. All right.
That might win you the bet, by the way.
I know. I can't wait. Yeah, I only got a couple more days left.
That's true.
So question number 3: do you own either Verge or Tron currently?
No, not currently, but it's really funny that you mentioned that, because within the next 24 hours I'll hold a bag of Verge.
Oh, interesting.
Good for you.
And now,
Scams
No
pump the
taken.
hardest. Scams
right.
pump the hardest.
They
Scams
sure
do
do.
pump the hardest. That's what
That's
we
funny.
say here.
All right. Question number 4: do you own a hardware wallet?
Yes, several.
Several's the right answer.
That is the right. That's
Several.
that's the cool cat answer.
All of the guys that are like real deals always say yes, several.
Yeah.
And then Chambers over there.
I'm going to buy another one.
Just so
I
anyone
can say
listening
several.
knows, they're not in one location. They're not all here. I don't have access to all of them.
So
It's
That's the first time somebody said that, though.
Don't
BG
go rob the
Dubs,
Bravado offices.
after spending the weekend in Chicago
Yeah.
at the conference, you should look into crypto key stack.
I'm familiar with them. They're doing cool
If
stuff.
you're, writing your private keys down on a piece of paper, they could
Don't do that.
I have
die in a
several-
fire, and you should look into crypto key stack because
Yeah,
even
I have
Jameson
several wallets
Lopp
too.
is
They're
behind
just
them, so.
empty. All of them are empty.
I was joking. I was joking the other day that I plugged my ledger in, and now it's just all dust that I have to convert to BNB.
It's only a matter of time before CZ takes over us all anyway. So.
No, Beaksy's taking over.
Oh,
you
right.
heard
Of
it here.
I hope.
That's right. All right.
All right, last question. Is Cryptopia in your top 3 favorite exchanges?
No, not at all.
Insert Donnie crypto quote.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not. No, I mean I've dabbled on Cryptopia for sure, but the liquidity. There's just so much of a liquidity problem. I can't even trade on like KuCoin a lot of the time.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I've made some great money on Cryptopia in the beginning of my trading journey with just the smallest shit coins. But there is a real problem with
The bigger problem that I have is that on almost all of these exchanges, and honestly, I'm calling out Bittrex and Binance too. They're not built for traders. What am I supposed to do with 2 order types? What
That's true.
What am I supposed to do with no stop losses, KuCoin? What am I supposed to do? That's not trading.
Maybe we can talk to Ian Bellina about that now.
Yeah, if you want to buy some crypto and then transfer it off to your ledger, like sure, go buy some shitcoin on Cryptopia, send it off to an Ether wallet, and sit on it for 2 years. But you can't trade on those exchanges. You can't trade on those.
It's tough.
Beaksy, 20 order types at launch early November.
I am on the same page with you guys. I'm serious. I am not affiliated
we've
with
got
Beaksy, but
Beaksy.
like at this conference, Beaksy, I am sold, you guys. I'm so sold.
I'll send you guys the check for the ad.
I want a referral link and some
funny.
Beaksy coin or whatever.
That's funny. How do you do, Chamber?
Looking pretty good. I mean, less than 70% alts. A little bit of action on BitMEX. Currently, no Verge. That might be changing soon. Lots of hardware
He's
wallets.
Bitcoin Bravado, guys. Like he's
love it.
chill. He's good.
No, he's solid. You're looking.
The
sweet
team's
for
a
the
lot
next
better
one.
than I am. I'm surrounded by some awesome folks. Man.
That's awesome.
They're way better than me.
We got the next segment we have here is called The Purge. So what The Purge is it's just like the movie or the new upcoming television show, I guess I saw a ad for. But you can, with no questions asked, no consequences, purge any crypto project out there that you just hate or once wrecked you, scorned to love, or whatever. The catch is you cannot use anything that our guests have already used. So I'm going to read you what they have used already. So we've purged Tron, Ripple, Ethereum, Verge, EOS, Bcash, and Tether. So now
I
you
can't
get
wait
list.
to hear what his answer is.
It probably won't surprise you. Maybe it will, but it's Z Classic. that fucking coin's got to die, man. It's
Really?
Z Classic is a coin that, again, we kind of came up on telling everyone that we were interested in Z Classic at about $1, about $1.80, $2. It went to $250, if you guys recall. So
That was a crazy.
I actually had
God.
someone come up to me at a conference and tell me that he made $10 million on that call.
Oh
and
my
I called
God.
I called bullshit on it until he showed me. Real talk showed
Wow.
me this trade. So I mean, he was putting $100,000 in trades. I mean, he had a lot of money, but he snapped on this. So, anyways, your boy Bitcoin Birch, I sold it at $5, and then I bought it again at about 200. Sold it at like 180 before it went to 250. So
That thing's
my
gonna
gosh.
die. a
not to
dog
mention the
sad.
fact that it's a scam, and it for some reason it's still trying to pump. There's going to continue to be forks that come off of Z Classic. That's one scam I don't think I'll buy again.
That's a good one. All right, so we're purging
Purge
Z
it.
Classic. Yeah, that's a good
Done.
one.
That's a
I
good
like
one.
that.
That's an original answer, because you'd expect someone to say Ripple or Tron, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
When
amazing.
honestly, I'm
Yeah.
going to be buying a lot of Ripple if it hits 20
Speaking
cents.
of forks, have you guys heard about Bcash is talking about forking?
Yeah, I saw that today. I saw some weird Roger Ver video that he was talking about on a stream, saying he was going to fork on Bitcoin Cash and send free money to anyone who was holding it. So that's a
So that's going to pump it. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and
Exactly.
market
And
buy it real
I
quick.
think
Hold on.
I've been on and off this podcast tonight because I'm just now back in town from Chicago. My kids are going insane. I think I missed the news.
Oh no, but I've been seeing that all over Twitter the other day or yesterday.
The HODL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't
Hot
call
bear
him
guy?
trader. It's not HODL. It's HODL. That's old, though. That's from last year. I remember seeing that back in the beginning of this year or end of last year.
Really?
So, yeah, I don't know who that... Yeah, it's old. No, I know for a fact I've seen it before. I know for a fact. And I actually think I've
He's
seen
not
that
on
guy
Twitter,
at a
he's not a real
conference.
person.
I think
He's
I've
a-
actually seen him at a conference.
He's a crisis actor.
Plus, yeah.
Anyway, all right, so that was the purge. We got Z Classic for the purge. Next, and our final segment is the REKT index.
Brutal, savage, REKT.
So the REKT index, Birch, is where you're going to give us your top 3 projects that you're interested in or that you think are going to perform well over the next couple months. We actually put our money where our mouth is here, and we actually buy a small bag of everything that everybody's suggested to us. Chamber, do we have an update on our index?
When did you
here?
start the podcast?
It's June. The end of June. So some things we're very wrecked on. Some things anybody could have thrown a dart at.
We're mildly wrecked.
Yeah, so we're mildly wrecked. What do we got, Chamber?
So, today's a pretty good day actually. We are up today in USD up 4%, BTC up a half point, but overall up 35.5% Ether value, down 17% on USD, and about flat on BTC. So looking all right.
Oh, that's not terrible. All right, so we've done all right. So Birch, what do you got for us, man?
All right. Well, I've got a lot of favorites if I were building a portfolio, and I am. So I'm going to start with Tomo. You guys know about Tomo.
I do know Tomo.
Tomo is definitely, and I'm trying to give you guys a few that I'm actually, these are ones that I'm looking to take some positions in pretty soon.
That's what we're looking for.
These are ones that I think are pretty well bottomed out. I mean, Tomo is absolutely destroyed, and in the last couple of weeks, we've seen a huge influx in volume that that kind of came out of nowhere, and it's been steady, and the price has been steadily increasing with it. So rising price, rising volume is usually
It's one of my KuCoin gems.
it's a good
Bunchu.
one. So yep.
Oh,
So
good. We can
Tomo,
get it
and then so the next one, I really like is Wax. Are you guys familiar with Wax?
Oh yeah,
I'm not.
I held a
Alright,
big
so-
bag of wax for a while. I made some money on that one actually.
Yep, Wax. Yeah, Wax would have made you some money in the past, and then it's actually been one of the more stable coins of the last few months, and it's backed by an incredible team that I've had the pleasure of getting to know a little bit. About a $73 million market cap. and it's one of the best use cases for crypto because I think that one of the best use cases for crypto is gaming, game skins. Not spending 1,000 Bitcoin on any game skins, but game skins nonetheless, and gaming upgrades.
Jay
and
get walk in there.
yeah, a little slight dig. I've personally spent like $300 on Madden 19 already this year, and
me too.
Came out like 2 weeks ago.
Your handle then.
yeah. So I know there's money in that space, and so Wax I'm a fan of. And then at this price, especially, Decred is ready to rock. So I'm about to load up on Decred.
We're just talking about Decred.
It's an OG coin. It's a top 50 OG coin that I've never really had a lot of exposure to. I've definitely traded it before, mostly last year in 2017. I'm ready to go, and Decred looks absolutely gorgeous right now. So I'm ready to rock on Decred.
Cool. Those are some good ones. Where can we get
my favorite? Those are my
generated
3
now?
favorite picks we've had so far.
Really?
Okay.
Well, that's good. It sounds like,
Fantastic.
you always say that you're waiting for somebody to pick bags that you have.
Yeah. Or at least
think
bags
might
that
have
I
just
like.
happened.
So you can get Wax on Bittrex and KuCoin. So I'd go Bittrex so you can roll stop losses. I'm, just on that note, any alt that I'm finally getting exposure to alts for the first time since mostly March. If you guys followed Whiskey Wednesday back in March or April or May, back in April and March, we were after the little rally on alts. That was pretty much when I bailed on everything.
That's pretty much when I bailed too, actually.
Yeah, I didn't sell the top. I took profit a little bit early on a lot of those pumps, but it's been good in hindsight. And so stop losses are important. This could be a relief for a dead cat. We could definitely see some more downside, especially versus Bitcoin.
Yeah, what is your kind of overall view on the market, where we're at now? Obviously today we saw, a nice little pump. We've kind of been steadily growing over the last couple, days to the week or so. Do you think this is a true reversal? Do you think it's a dead cat? What do you think?
So the only thing that gives me some optimism across the entire market is that this kind of bounce has been less of an aggressive bounce. It's been a little bit more sideways and slow moving for the last few weeks. And that's what I was really hoping for. The last 2 major market cap bounces we had were pretty aggressive. And so they happened a little too quickly. Also, though, if you follow like market cap cycle, we've all seen the the stock market cycle chart with the we know what I'm talking about.
I never know where I am. I'm always
Yeah.
capitulating. I don't know.
So there's a part on that where you basically, I guess people on the podcast can't see me, but you basically retest a common support and then you just capitulate underneath it and kind of fish hook. You kind of fish hook under it. And like that's that final capitulation. Yep. If you look at the market cap, if you do any type of market cap analysis, I've been very bullish on a $250 billion market cap floor since February. There's a tweet that I made in February when the market cap was like 450, 500 billion, and I said 250 is the floor. And we hit 250, and then we bounced. Then we hit 250, we bounced. We hit 250 again, we bounced. Then we hit 250, we finally broke down. And I really think that when we broke down that 250 on that last time, that's that capitulation, and now we might fish hook. So I guess to answer your question fairly, as I try to keep these lights on, I would say that if we can find any type of support above $250 billion total market cap, it's going to be a time where my Bitcoin allocation comes down to at least 50%, maybe a little bit less, as I start to load up on alts. Otherwise, right now, I'm just looking for some swing plays. I'm looking for some tight moves, and that's kind of how I'm playing it. So.
That's a really awesome explanation of that. I think it's super easy for people to understand. Everybody has seen that stock market chart. If you haven't seen it, we will post it on our Twitter when we post this episode, because if you haven't seen it, you're just not looking hard enough, because
it's definitely
because
up there.
It's there every day pretty much. So, but that's awesome. I think that's a really easy way for people to think about, the market as a whole in a long-term spot there. So thanks for that.
Yeah, and with Bitcoin, just as a final note, Bitcoin, I really do think, I can't be 100% sure right now. I think there could be, no one's 100% sure, and I'm trying to be prepared either way. I think there could be some more downside on Bitcoin. I think that we could, so Bitcoin's down about 65-70% year over year. Everything else is down 90%. The market on average is down like 80%. So if anything, Bitcoin has a little bit more give, and we've all seen how closely correlated. Bitcoin pumps, alts get wrecked. Bitcoin dumps, alts get wrecked. This may be the one pivot in the market where Bitcoin, once we hit that 71, 72, maybe we retest 7,800. we could see an aggressive move down on Bitcoin that doesn't affect alts as much. And if we do start to see that happening, that could be a mini alt season where we can gain a lot of Bitcoin in the alt market while Bitcoin gets destroyed down to 4,800, 5,200, wherever that range might be. And then the market's finally bottomed out. So
I'd be perfectly happy with that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be, because
too.
most people are holding a lot of alts, and it could be an opportunity. But
it's
don't
an
sleep on
opportunity
Bitcoin.
both ways. I think it's an opportunity both ways.
No doubt.
People are chomping at the bit they've been calling a $4,000 Bitcoin since, half of Twitter or whatever it has. But, I'm personally sitting with a lot of cash. I'm pretty much out of the market except for my Bitcoin and my cash. I haven't held any alts in my personal portfolio in a long time, and I'm kind of waiting for this. So the problem with me now is I don't know exactly when it is to get back in. So I'm kind of
a lot of people get caught waiting for confirmation, and
right.
I would just try to stress that by the time you get confirmation, you do risk missing out on some gains. But if that's where
these bitches are down 90%.
Right, but they can go down 70% from here just to get just to really bottom out. If you're not comfortable, then miss a 30% gain to set yourself up for a better long-term position. If you're ready to, but if you're comfortable making some tight moves and you're comfortable, with your risk management, and you know how to set stop losses at a place where it makes sense for you, and you know how to buy support, this is probably a pretty good time to buy alts, and that's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm finally doing it. So
cool. You heard it here first, everybody. So that was some awesome trading centric advice, so we appreciate that for sure. So that does it for us in our segments. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? Where can people find you? Anything that you want to get the word out on? Floor's yours.
Thank you. Well, yeah, thank you guys again so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. I love doing these podcasts because it's a great way to kind of share different experiences, and I think that's the best way to learn. So I've done a couple of podcasts, and we usually just find ourselves talking about stories that I think can help. And I hope I can continue to help do that. I co-founded Bravado after a few years in the space because I wanted really a community that I could trust. I wanted a like-minded group of people that wanted to learn about crypto with me and wanted to kind of go along that journey. And I've been fortunate in the last year to build a team of over 10 people. We also manage a fully licensed and very above board fund. And so now what we use is we have this great group of traders. We have this great group of researchers. We have this great group of analysts, and they all work together within my community to help other people learn and make some successful trades. So you can find me. I'm at Bitcoin Birch on Twitter. You can find Bravado's free Telegram, 45,000 subscribers, one of the largest private Telegrams.
It's just a few more than ours. No big deal.
It's one of the private, never done a cross promo or any of that bullshit. One of the largest private Telegrams on earth in crypto.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and you can find us at Bitcoin Bravado on Telegram. And if you are interested in learning a little bit more about some of the more specialty services we offer, even ones that don't cost any money, you can check that out at trybravado.com.
That's cool. Speaking of your team, I heard I think he's with you at Bravado, Crypto Biggie or Notorious BTC. He was on Crypto Street. Shout out to those guys. He was really good on the show the other day, so that was cool too. So check him out if you haven't listened to that.
I listened to that show too. He was very good on that.
Yeah,
show.
Biggie was just here in Chicago. We have him in quite a bit. He's actually he's a really astute trader. He's been around for a little bit now, and he works really hard within our community as well. So Crypto Street, shout out. I've been on that show twice, and I've really enjoyed that. So hopefully I'll be on your show 3 times by the end of the year.
For real.
But hopefully not with any more stories.
Only positive stories.
So I bought Tomo, and it went to 0.
And
so
we bought
we.
Tomo, and it went to 0. Yeah, man, that's cool. Thank you very much again for coming on. We really appreciate having you. So you heard it. Find them. Check out Bitcoin Bravado, and for us, check us out on our Telegram channel, t.me/rekt_podcast. We're still trying to grow that.
Yeah, we got a muscular 190 subscribers.
No big deal. I think people aren't. We have our Twitter and our Telegram usage is very different. So
No
come
doubt.
join us there because we're always chatting like 24/7 on Telegram. So check us out on Twitter, REKT_podcast. Give us a review. Leave us your REKT stories. Tell us we suck. Whatever you want. Just leave us a review on iTunes. Help us get up there. And then we will leave you today, as always, with our BitMEX REKT of the week. This came about 40 minutes before we started recording the podcast tonight. It was a liquidated short, so you can all rejoice, on Bitcoin of 8,351,316 contracts at $6,927.
That's a
a
spicy
stinger.
meatball.
That sure is. Birch,
stinger.
you ever taken one that big?
Not that big. Nope. I've lost 100,000 contracts before on a liquidation, but
Thank God
not
it
8
wasn't
million.
8 million. That's a big one. So, but anyway, man, thank you again for coming on. We appreciate it.
Anytime.
As for everybody else, don't get wrecked, and that is financial advice.